Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Travel Show. This is the 5th of March. We are here with Ryan and Rita, Maribel and Thomas. Welcome aboard, guys. How are you?
Very good. Oh my God, how quickly is this week seeming to go?
Yeah, it's
Well, we
just
had
you
a
have noticed the time
hard,
here.
long day yesterday, 3 hour and 40 minutes of live streaming non-stop. An
Whoa.
insane idea of Rita and Ryan. Thank you, guys.
No problem. Well, there's a lot more hard work to come. I'm going to be in the studio over the next couple of days, cutting it all down, getting it up onto YouTube, so we can share all these fantastic panels that we've had.
Thank you very much.
Would you like
All
actually?
who participated.
Yeah, would you like, before we start this panel, just quickly share some of the insight of yesterday? What was happened?
Yeah, so we are here based at the student hotel, and we had different sessions here on location. We are literally in a hotel room, but also got a couple of people from the lobby spontaneously and people tuning in remotely. Everybody just came together as a family, and we're happy to share, their insights both on the current situation, but also specifically looking into the future and how to deal with the future and how, the buzzwords transparency and integration. What were your buzzwords that you were taking away?
My buzzwords. I mean, it was a crazy because me and Rita, we've never worked together before, so we were literally thrown in the deep end, or we threw ourselves in the deep end. Running around a hotel for the first time in my life with a camera was fantastic, and we had SiteMinder, we had Pace, we had Beyond Price, we had Ideas with an exclusive announcement. We've had so many people involved in just that one day, and we've got so much more lined up for you today. We've got the sustainability panel coming first.
Yep. Here we have Maribel and Thomas waiting already on the back.
And then we've got the CRM panel, and we have a number of companies actually who are going to be taking part in that, right?
Yeah, so it's a great panel. Revinate, Daily Point, Sendine, and Experience Hotel together with Profit Room. It's a very, very diverse panel. And then we have straight afterwards an AI panel, but because we didn't find any man, it had to be an all-female panel. So AI and what the future looks like for customers.
And the hotel here is still busy. The foyer, there's a lot of discussion going on. People keep coming in and out during the day. So there's a lovely, almost like homely environment down here. So if you are in Berlin, pop down, grab yourself a cup of coffee, a beer, a wine, or whatever you're ready for, basically. And there's always someone who's going to be here chatting away. Plus, if you are in the city, just bring your laptop and work here. And plenty of us are doing that as well.
Cool.
I can believe that there's a very special, interesting vibe now going in Berlin while the ITB is not happening. So that must be a complete different type feeling, which I can believe it's very exciting.
Absolutely, and it's kind of we've never met, you mentioned before. I mean, we haven't worked together, and it's just we all have this same vibe, and suddenly we are working together. Although there were different events going on, we just came to the same.
Don't get me wrong, I am missing ITB. We're missing the parties where you are literally crushed in and trying to grab the drinks and the cannabis that are coming past. All the booth parties that are meant to be happening. In fact, BD4 Travel is actually doing an online booth party. So grab your beers and join BD4 Travel. Obviously, simultaneously, whilst you're watching the sustainability panel, please. But no, it's great. It's lovely, and it is sad that we are going to be coming to an end probably either today, and because a lot of people are heading home tonight or first thing tomorrow. But it's been electric. But I really don't think that we should be cutting in to any more time for the sustainability panel. So I think it's time to hand over to our moderator, right?
Yes, Maribel Esparcia, who is the co-founder of the European Sustainable Hospitality Club. And we are going to switch places here with the lovely Sofia Melas from Fly Now, Pay Later, and Luz Alvarado from Chart OK. So
Great. Thank you, guys.
and
Thank you.
the show must go on.
Right, see you
See you
soon.
later.
See you later.
Bye.
All right. So who's coming there?
Okay.
We
Great,
have-
great.
All right, guys. So
Luz.
I'll give you the show, Maribel. I'm gonna be here
And
on
Sophia.
stage. Anything you need, just touch base, and I'll be there. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Enzo. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Sophia, Luz, nice to meet you. Hello, Thomas. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to meet you.
I'd like to start the panel by letting you tell us a little bit more about you guys. What are you doing? Now we are missing ITV, but it's great that we can meet in a digital or online way anyway. So it's great if you can introduce yourself, what you do with your company, and a little bit of a framework of how we can prepare this panel. We are talking about sustainability, but as I said, we've discussed before, it's not just pure green or environmental aspects, but we are going to talk about as well about the social aspects and the governance aspects of it and leadership's challenges that we may have ahead. So it's great that I have you all and we can start the discussion and see how it goes. So if you would like to introduce yourself, maybe Sophia first. If I'm right, you can just introduce yourself and a little bit of your company as well.
Yeah, so my name is Sophia Mellis, and I am head of sales for Germany for Fly Now, Pay Later. And Fly Now, Pay Later is a travel fintech company, and we basically allow the end consumer to spread the cost of their trip over time, so they can fly now and pay later. And yeah, so I work predominantly in Germany, and then my interest in sustainability is kind of just, I'm trying to create some sort of incentivification program internally, but I just recently finished my master's in tourism environment development. So it's just a personal interest of mine.
Wow, that's great. So you can help us a lot today in the discussion with all of that. I'm sure you will. And Luz, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, of course. I have already presented myself yesterday, but you too.
Yeah.
So we will just do it again in case there's new people watching us now. Yes, I come from Barcelona. I came from Barcelona. We are building Chart OK with my co-founder Joan Sanz, and we are developing a platform for to centralize people, processes, and tools in the hotel chains and in hostels chains also. Our aim is to boost to the fullest the potential of the employees, and also raising up the productivity and engagement culture into the hospitality sector. And at the end, we will be adding some AI to boost our platform thanks to an AI promoted assistant that tells the teams what to do in the right moment, in the right place, with the right people, so we can all work better and together in the hotels. And as for sustainability, well, I've been in the hospitality industry for 15 years now, so we talk about sustainability more and more, and I'm being involved in different ways. But it's nice to be here with you.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much. It sounds exciting because, as you know, we have a lot of issues to organizing ourselves, and we still have properties where we work with papers, I believe. So having a software always helps, I believe. Absolutely. And I think now I can see you, Thomas. Please explain us about Rainmaker and about yourself, and where are you based now?
Yeah, first, thank you very much for the invitation to this exciting panel. I'm currently based in Frankfurt. I was on my way to Berlin, and I was actually in the plane from South Africa to Frankfurt. And when I have arrived in Frankfurt, I just got the first message on my WhatsApp, oh, ITB has been cancelled. So I made alternative planes. As we all do, right?
Yes.
But what do we do? It's actually very simple. We believe that we build the foundation for sustainability in the hospitality and tourism industry. And with that, we mean the economical sustainability, which to me comes first. So what we do is we keep more tourism spent in a destination by democratizing technology and make that available to all the emerging small and medium independent hospitality and tourism businesses in a destination. We do that in different ways. So what we achieve at the end of the day is hospitality and tourism providers no longer being dependent on either no longer sustainable traditional value chains or market dominating digital value chains to which they give away 60 to 80% of their profit, have become dependent, and also give away the customer ownership. So the platform we have created, which is called the Vista Destination Network, is an entire ecosystem which we provide as public-private partnership to tourism authorities in countries and destinations to enable and digital transform this entire destination and all its stakeholders as a social enterprise.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
We can't hear
We
you,
can't hear
Maria.
you.
Sorry.
There we go.
No, yes. As I was saying, at the end of the day, we have so many challenges, and at least we have tech to help us in many different ways. So let's start. We can build the session in 3 blocks if you'd like. Of course, as you were saying, the economic sustainability comes first, because without feeding communities and building destinations, we can't have a sustainable tourism nor hotels or hospitality. So absolutely, we will talk about that. I'd like to talk first about the environmental aspects, so the challenges that we have ahead. After, we can talk about the social issues that we've got and how we can tackle them from our side with our businesses, or maybe creating partnerships with other businesses as well. And on the third point, maybe as well, about the governance. So the environmental, the social, and the governance risks that we are facing as an industry, right? So I'd like to start with a question, and then any of you can answer to that, and please feel free to jump when you think you have an input or you want to say something about it. So how do you believe, or how do you see the industry, in the sense of how do you integrate sustainability strategies in the projects that you are doing currently with your clients, or maybe with other businesses that you have partnership with? How are you integrating the environmental aspects right now? If you want to start, Thomas, or maybe the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. No, as I said, I mean, we believe if a hospitality and tourism business doesn't have the means and funds of even thinking of sustainable projects, whether those are social sustainable projects for the community or environmental sustainable projects, if those funds are not available because 60 to 80% of the profits going elsewhere, leaking out of the country, leaking out of the destination, then there's very little room for those hospitality and tourism providers to really do something in terms of that sustainability, which, if you look at it from the consumer's perspective, I mean, due to greater effect and all that, I mean, we're very happy that the public at large has become very sensitized on responsible travel, on sustainable travel. And we know from all the data we have that people are actually looking for that. But now that needs to be fulfilled in a certain way, but it can only be fulfilled if those hospitality and tourism business can even afford doing that. So it needs some basics to get done in order to get to those projects, right? And it's very important to have those projects because the customer more and more will ask for that, right? So, and that's where we coming in, where we try to enable the destination, enable every tourism and hospitality provider to take back the control of their own visibility, their communication, their distribution, to no longer depend on those other platforms and keep more money in the country for sustainable tourism development.
Sorry, I agree with things and I disagree with others, because I believe that some operators and investors, they do have the funds, but I understand your point and where you're coming from, and absolutely direct sales always are a plus for properties. But let me see, what do you think, Luz, about what Thomas is proposing, and in your day-to-day, how are you working with your partnership or partners or clients about it?
Maybe for clarification, we're working mainly with emerging, small and medium and independent businesses.
Independent hotel,
So we're not
absolutely.
working with any groups and chains.
Okay.
Correctly. So maybe family-owned business as well?
Yes.
Yes, correct. Great.
Yeah, from the sustainability, we are more in the social sustainability, but talking about environmental sustainability, it's true that, for example, in the startup ecosystem of Barcelona, there's something very interesting that is happening that are only the startups that are developing social or environmental projects, but also you have a great interest from public institutions and also from companies that are helping them or giving them support or helping them to create a team or a case study just to continue growing up in this sense of sustainability and environmental. For example, they made recently it was going to be happening during the mobile, but as the Mobile World Congress didn't happen, they just changed the format and make a get together with big companies, big corporations, not only in tourism and travel, but also in other industries, to support startups and to talk with them. And they gave a lot of priority to those startups related to food wasting, recycle, circular, zero waste travel, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. So private-public partnerships are a great initiative. Absolutely.
I think that happened in Barcelona, at least.
Yes. Great. And Sophia, how are you viewing this topic?
So we work with, as a company, we work with a lot of big tour operators, and what we're seeing a lot, especially in the airline industry, because truly there is not much worse than fossil fuels for the environment from airplanes. So I recognize the contradiction in what I'm saying, but what we see a lot of now are these incentivification programs in the travel industry, and a lot of people are doing carbon offset. Like I know BA just announced that they're offsetting all of their domestic flights, which isn't that much because the UK is not that big. But you're seeing airlines doing a lot of these things now. And like a Skyscanner, for example, will attach the carbon footprint to whatever flight you book. Like they'll tell you what it is. There's more just things going on. But I think as companies now, or even for smaller companies and larger companies, there needs to be some sort of incentivization, whether it's with money up front, because in the long run, the thing is sustainable energy sources are much less expensive than non-sustainable energy sources, like solar energy, for example, and it is a large upfront cost, but in the end, it does benefit the company. So what you're saying with these smaller and emerging companies, I think they need to be incentivized either on a governmental policy level, or people. A lot of times people will only act if they're forced to, or if they have some sort of reason behind doing it. Yeah. So, what I have in my ideas are some sort of incentivization for our customers, either some sort of rewards program, like if they book with a sustainable tour operator, then they'll get something back from us, or, creating pro bono projects with sustainable tour operators. Mine are currently all ideas right now. Nothing's really come into fruition yet, but yeah.
No, absolutely. There are already examples. Like I believe that there are some tour operators that only have certified hotels or blue flag beaches where they are selling those destinations only. Or we've seen incentives, but I do agree that we need a push, especially for, as you were saying, Thomas, for family-owned business, for small companies or SMEs that maybe they don't have the power or the funds or the resources to make those big changes or big investments upfront, even though the efficiency pays off in terms of firm value, in terms of returns, in terms of employee productivity that we will see later on. But definitely, I do agree with you. So considering that we have free resources, because we've got some free resources, one of my concerns is that some maybe consultancies, they come and say, well, we will assess the current situations and we will charge you a fee, but this is not really helping because you're not really engaging with the topic. You're not really embedding within the organization what the changes you want to make, right? So we need of course incentive from the government and public institutions, but also we have free tools that we could use. And if someone who is listening or watching wants any free resources, please let me know, because I can tell you, or I can email you a lot of free tools that we can use nowadays. Oh my God, it's already, we are talking a lot, like time is going fast. On the social side, of course, this topic is very, we could be talking here for hours, but on the social side, I want to ask you, Sophia, so how do you think or how could we use technology to improve society's access to travel? Maybe you are helping with your company towards that.
Yeah, so I guess there's two ways to look at this. If it's like society's access to travel, I mean, with OTAs and like all of these things that we have online, we can always find the best deals. And like travel now is cheaper than it ever has been before, right? So, I mean, our company specifically allows, like, if you don't really have the money to travel up front, you can do it later, right? So like with these new types of technology and these new things available for us, it is lowering the cost of travel, which is making it more accessible, obviously, to everyone else, right? Pardon? Exactly, in terms of money. But I think, but the kind of the social benefits of travel for me is most interesting, because in the travel industry, it obviously is very lopsided in terms of who benefits kind of culturally from travel, right? Like, I mean, travel is so meaningful to all of us, and that's why we all do it, and that's why this industry exists, but it's usually the traveler, not the host, that's benefiting more, So I think it's important a lot of the times to kind of work, like technology can kind of enable these conversations to exist, cross company, cross functional conversations to exist. That makes travel more beneficial for the hosts as well, to kind of enable them to benefit economically, internally, like, not just these huge companies, but also, the smaller companies that are trying to exist in this larger tourism industry too. So I think on the side, in terms of creating travel accessibility in travel for more people, technology is obviously making it easier for people that wouldn't necessarily be able to afford to be able to travel, as like just scrape the internet for the cheapest prices. But then also technology also enables conversations to be had in terms of who benefits from travel, I think, on this, like, socially benefits from travel.
Absolutely, and I think Thomas mentioned that before, that we have to redistribute that revenue to local citizens for the destination, to also hoteliers to have the power again back to say, okay, we offer you a rate, but I'm selling you directly without any OTA or any middle hands, and also feeding back, right? I don't know if I'm saying right, Thomas, on your point on that.
No, absolutely. I think especially in emerging or developing countries, like many
Exactly.
destinations in Africa, tourism is one of the most important pillars to create prosperity, come out of poverty, and create an economy in communities and conservancies and in regions. I remember I was once working in a resort with 500 employees, but those 500 employees actually have an impact on 5,000 people in that very region, right? So tourism has a huge impact. And if, we call that colonialism 3.0, what happens today in Africa, right?
Yeah.
Because that money that's leaking out of Africa cannot contribute to prosperity in Africa, which tourism should be a key focus, having a key focus on, right? So something in the system is wrong in that specific, and we try using technology to get it right again. To the other aspect, you said, how can we work with governments and whatnot? I think there might be an opportunity talking to the grading councils in many countries and destinations, because star grading has become obsolete. Reviews and user-generated content have long overturned all of that. Nobody looks at star grading really, but now they could have a feature, or they could have a function in the sustainability aspect, now looking into not certifying, but engaging with those businesses in that kind of way, and create some sort of standard for the entire destination, and not leave it to some money-making consultants, again, from overseas.
Indeed. And I think scientists have been proposing this in papers for a while, that we should focus on rewarding and not basing hotels to rating, because as you said, it's pointless nowadays, but also adding new standards, new ways of SOPs that might be mandatory, new ways of running the hotel, and that could be defined. And I think we will see that shortly. We now have certifications, as you said, but sometimes certifications are not seeing or screening all the business areas. And the only ones I know that are, that you can trust, in my personal opinion, is B Corporation and GSTC. But the other ones, or the GRI, but because we see, to my next question, like how we can ensure also supply chains are sustainable, because here we talk about transparency. I think they mentioned in the intro, Rita mentioned it, how can we use technology to ensure transparency in supply chains? This is another thing, just not impacting communities, but also how do we run our operations, right? I don't know if you want to say something. You are all so quiet. Sophia, you're noting, but I don't know if you want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to really speak to the supply chain aspect of things, but I think always things on a smaller scale, obviously, like building relationships with who your suppliers are, and sort of an initial, in terms of like wherever the community is that we're creating these like trips to, whatever. I think it's important to have, I keep using the word host, but the host country involved in the decision making. So I think if you have the original, not only the stakeholders, but the people who are involved in the community, or exist in the community, involved in the initial decision making throughout all stages of development, I think that's one way to kind of monitor things.
I think in Europe we've seen that, but maybe in developing countries, as Thomas was saying, we're having some kind of issues seeing that because of interest and many things we could be talking for a long time here, but absolutely. Before we wrap it up, because I don't know, it's already almost 5. Time is going so fast. I just want to get your view on how we can improve internal governance and human capital, and how we can value human capital in a better way, because I think this is also in our to-do list for a while, and we still have a low, high attrition rates and turnover, and we have many challenges. So maybe Luz, you can tell me how you see this scenario right now and how we can improve.
Yeah, of course. Basically, technology will help us to communicate better and in a more transversal way in our companies. And talking into the hospitality sector, because of we have a service industry, and it involves not only the employees but the stakeholders, providers. We need that technology lead us to identify who is assuming value to the project, or adding value to what we are doing, and we can recognize it and make it public. Also, what is referring to generational groups, I think they are not having their opportunity into the hospitality industry because, for example, generation, a centennial, a person with 22 years old that end the career right now and that wants to get in a hotel to work, they barely go further than the reception, than the front desk. And I think that we need to empower all generations in the industry to give them the same opportunities to rise up and to move around and just build themselves as people and also as professionals.
Absolutely, absolutely, I do agree. And also improving learning and development programs for that, and leadership skills that we will need with new tech, because we have this. I teach in university, and I see the gap sometimes between what we teach and the structure of degrees and what is actually required in a daily basis. So hopefully we can change that, and leaders that will be coming to the industry, they can change that as well. I don't know if I need to wrap it up because it's 5 o'clock and I'm supposed to wrap it up now.
The panel is already working to get in, asking to get in. We're seeing it here.
And so this is not enough.
They're pressing us.
I'm here. So yeah, the people are taking part of the next session are ready.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, we can wrap it up. So thank
Okay.
you guys. Thanks
Thank
for share your thoughts. And let's have a little break, and then I open the channel
Thank you.
to the next guest. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Nice to meet you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye. Bye.